Well, it's as always a very good morning, a good afternoon, or a good evening to you, wherever you are listening to this podcast, either live or on your favorite streaming service. Welcome to the Coaching Cafe. My name is Natalie Ashdown from Open Door Coaching, and in this coaching podcast, we are reflecting on 2025, a year of coaching conversations. It's our final Coaching Cafe for the year. Before we begin, as always, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners on the lands on which we're all meeting today, their continuing connection to the land, the waters and communities of Australia, and lands from all around the world where you might be joining us today. We always love you dialing in and joining us from all around the world, and we pay our respects to them, their elders past, present and emerging, and elders from Indigenous communities from all around the world. Well, I'm running solo today because the rest of the team are out delivering still towards the end of the year. But it's really my pleasure to do this reflection with you all in our final Coaching Cafe. Today we'll be looking at trends and predictions that we made at the start of the year and talk to you about the most popular cafes that we ran this year, and also I'd like to do some thank yous to you and the entire team. So it's a really lovely opportunity for those of you that have dialed in with us throughout the year to reflect with me as well. If you are new to the Coaching Cafe this year, as you know, we have all been about creating a community, sharing our learned experiences and having thought-provoking conversations. And wow, we certainly had some thought-provoking conversations this year as we reflected on all the trends. And of course, all of you dialed in to pick up your free ICF And of course, it's been an absolute pleasure to provide those to you. If this is your first Coaching Cafe for the year, well, we look forward to seeing you next year because this is our final one for the year 2025. So let's go back and think about our trends and what we said at the beginning of the year. Let's talk about how we've actually assisted with those trends and your coaching education and capability. And then we can, of course, pick that up in the new year as we go on with the trends for the new year. So the first trend we saw is the developing of coaching as a core competency. And we suggested at the beginning of the year that developing coaching skills is essential for leaders aiming to foster employee growth and drive organisational success, that coaching would continue to become included as a core competency in our workplaces. And we certainly saw that roll out during the year, and you've all been a part of that as well. It's quite exciting, isn't it, really? According to the Human Capital Institute and ICF studies, 54% of companies classified as high performing have a strong coaching culture, and that figure only drops to 29% with organisations without one. So if you want a high performing organisation and a high performing organisation and company, then you're likely to have a strong coaching culture. And of course, employees who feel trusted and supported by their manager are 3.4 times more likely to be engaged. And Gallup finds a variance of 70% that in team engagement is attributed to the manager alone. So where managers are implementing coaching and using coaching skills, we see really high engagement within the workplace. And a lot of variance. So there's lots of different studies we showed you at the beginning of the year, Forbes studies and Gallup studies. We've been sharing those with you throughout the year. And this year, in response to that trend, we introduced a number of coaching cafes on the ICF core competencies. We included discussions about ethics, a number of different sessions on ethics, the ICF credentialing exam, and of course we looked at the changes to the ICF core competencies as well. One of the other major things we really focused on this year was coaching in action. So I hope you all enjoyed tuning into the demonstrations of ACC coaching, PCC coaching, and MCC coaching, and we debriefed PCC and MCC coaching conversations, so that you would really get to understand what that actually sounds like and what the core competency sounds like. So I'm glad we were able to leverage this trend and bring you cafes throughout the year. And interestingly, this has been backed up now by the recent 2025 ICF Global Coaching Study, the final report. We talked about that in a coaching cafe just a couple of weeks ago, and it actually says that 73% of coaches globally say their clients expect their coaches to be qualified, certified, or credentialed. And of course, you being part of this cafe is backing up that statistic. So great trend that we're on. We really are super appreciative of the fact that we could bring you all of these wonderful cafes to grow your ICF core competencies, and that's been backed up by the global study. Going on to the second trend that we talked about at the beginning of the year, we were talking about well-being and psychological safety in our workplaces, and we told you at the beginning of this year we were concerned about burnout. There was a report done, MetLife's 2024 employee benefits trend. It was a survey of workers across the USA, UK, Australia and Canada, and only 60% of workers ranked their physical health as good or excellent, and the numbers were going down. 58% of workers in that report felt the same about their mental health, and 35% actually ranked their financial health. Only 35% thought their financial health and their social health was actually good. So interestingly, the 2024 Gallup study that we showed you, it was a global employee life evaluation study. Only 35% of our workforce said that they were thriving. And 56%, the report actually said people were struggling when 1 in 10 workers are actually suffering. So we were very concerned about burnout, well-being, psychological safety, keen to introduce cafes that might support us here. And of course, we did that by looking at our role in supporting clients. So we did a cafe on the role that coaches have, how we support clients, and of course we did focus on World Mental Health Day and gave you a couple of really practical coaching cafes to assist with understanding how we can assist our clients around their mental health. Interestingly, the other thing that we found that backs up this trend that we said was happening is that when the 2025 core competencies were updated just recently, under the core competency embodies a coaching mindset, the International Coach Federation introduced well-being and psychological safety as part of a coaching mindset. They said the new competency is the coach maintains emotional, physical and mental well-being in preparation for, throughout and following each session. So that is the trend that we identified that's coming through the workplace in the early days, and it's happening last year and carrying on to this year. We definitely saw the introduction of the ICF core competencies that will address that trend for us as coaches and as professional coaches and as coaches in our workplace. So something to keep an eye on. And we ran coaching cafes on this topic so that you would have the skills and knowledge to be able to work with your clients in this area. Another trend that we identified was that trend around career transitions, and we talked about the 5 different generations in the workplace and what is happening in our workplaces and how we as coaches can support people as they make their career transitions. In particular, looking at the baby boomers, X generations, Y gens, Gen Zs, etc. as they come through the workplace. And this is really interesting. So we did run a lot of coaching cafes around this. In particular, looking at how we have performance conversations and strengths-based conversations. And of course, then we saw the cafe on the ICF Global Coaching Study that backed up this trend. If we look at our industry, Gen X now make up 53% of coaches, and that is an increase. And baby boomers now make up about 35% of coaches globally, and baby boomers is on the decrease. So this trend that we picked up at the beginning of the year, the need to focus on career transitions, is actually happening in our industry. Millennials now make up 11% of the coaching industry in terms of coaches, and that is truly, as has been identified in the ICF global study, the start of the generational shift that we're seeing in our industry as well as industries that we're coaching within. Interestingly, in terms of growth strategies, 43% of coaches have obtained additional coaching qualifications. So the trend to help ourselves in the coaching industry with career transitions and how we're growing and developing has really been seen. And it's just so wonderful, I think, when we think about everything we're trying to achieve through the Coaching Cafe to give you capability and knowledge and grow professionally together. We're seeing that trend come through. 2/3 of all coach practitioners, by the way, now hold a third level, which is a master's or a higher level qualification as well. It's lower in our region, in Oceania, but it's definitely increasing. So some really good things to look at in terms of how we are developing ourselves as professionals and how that then relates to the broader global trends we're seeing. At the beginning of the year, we also talked about the need to adapt to technological changes, and this has been a big topic. It started last year with a fever, and it's continued on. The AI adoption worldwide has been dramatically increasing in the past year. And so we showed you those statistics at the beginning of the year, the McKinsey adoption of AI. You can pick that up on our blog or on YouTube, or in terms of seeing the graph if you can't see it on screen. In response to the need for us as coaching professionals, either professional external providers or within our workplace, we actually ran a number of coaching cafes that were on AI in coaching, which were very exciting. And many of you will remember I really put some of these chatbots to the test when it comes to coaching. And of course, for those of you that are doing our Certificate 4 in Workplace and Business Coaching and our diploma programs, the new programs were launched and released at the beginning of 2025, and they include the need for AI in coaching as part of the curriculum. So what's really interesting is that the ICF Global report that just came out said that 47% of coaches are using digital coaching platforms, but it's mostly for one-on-one coaching, tracking goals, and a little bit of AI coaching, powered coaching and chatbots going on. Only about 11% and 6% in those categories. But the ICF core competencies now say that we need to be aware of technology. So we are so excited because we shared this trend with you at the beginning of the year. We let you know that our coaching programs are adapting and respond to this trend. And now the ICF core competencies are actually asking us coaches to be aware of technology and the influences of technology. So there's a lot of things coming together. And I'm really excited and quite proud, to be honest, that you, as our coaching alumni and everyone listening to our Coaching Cafe, have been part of that as well. So Coaching Cafe by the numbers, this year we ran over 30 coaching cafes. We only had a handful of breaks for the public holidays and when we were all as a team out delivering. So there was a couple of occasions where all of us were delivering programs in different states to different clients, different programs. It was a really exciting thing. And we missed you that week, but then we came back strong the following weeks. We covered topics on our Coaching Cafe around all sorts of topics, as I've mentioned, but you really loved and tuned into the top topics the top topics that we found were the ICF credentialing exam. So you might remember during the cafe during the year we did a cafe on the ICF credentialing exam, the mystery and unveiling all of the information you need to know and trying to demystify the ICF credentialing exam. It was by far the most listened to and downloaded podcast. So thank you for letting us know that we were on par there and on point. We're really actually very excited to let you know that the other really big category of downloads that we found and listening when you tuned in, were all around coaching and action. So when we listened to the live coaching sessions for PCC and MCC and debriefed them together, it was a wonderful opportunity for us to learn from PCC and MCC coaching and then to share those insights with each other. And it just really makes me really excited and happy that they were the most important downloads to you as a community, that you really are focused on your continuous growth and development and want to hear what PCC, MCC stands for. And of course, the cafe that we did where we said, what does an instant fail look like? That was highly downloaded as well, particularly amongst our ACC cohort as well, because we don't want you to fail an ACC exam. What I love about what we're doing together as a community as well is that whenever we ran a cafe that was around the trends, for example, the ICF Global Reports or the Gallup Global Reports or HBR or Forbes or whoever we were tapping into at the time during the year, you loved those trends and dialing into those cafes. And whenever we ran updates, for example, to the ICF core competencies, you really dialed into those as well. So thank you, because you're really giving us an idea about what's important to you. And it's really clear that all of us staying up to date with our industry, the global trends across not only coaching, but across our workplaces and across the globe, and really thinking about how we can develop ourselves as professional coaches in the workplace, and what does that mean in terms of listening to great coaching. All those things are important to you. So thank you for letting us know that throughout the year, and supporting those cafes as well. We've had over 14,000 downloads of the Coaching Cafe, which is just so exciting. People are dialing in, so you are all dialing in, mostly from Oceania at the moment. So 62% of people are dialing in from Oceania. But look at North America and Europe. 16% of you are dialing in from North America, 12% from Europe, 7% from the broader Asian community. South America and Africa, in terms of continents, are represented. They're not big, but we do have people dialing in. And for those of you that have listened to the weather report at the start of the cafes, you'll know that we welcome people from Bali and Indonesia and Thailand. We welcome people from obviously Australia, New Zealand, Philippines, Singapore, people dialing from Kentucky, from North Carolina, all around the world, Japan. We just love saying hi to you all, and apologies if I haven't mentioned your country or state. It's just been a real pleasure to actually catch up with everybody as we do every Friday. So that's our reflection for the year. We feel like we are on point with the trends. We feel like we've helped you, and you've responded by downloading the podcast so many times. I talk to people nearly every week about them downloading the podcast, and people listen to it in the car and on the train and when they're making dinner and vacuuming, and it always makes me laugh that you're joining us like this, but it makes us incredibly proud and incredibly privileged. When you think about all the different things that you could listen to, you are taking this half hour out every week to develop yourself as professional coaches in your workplace or externally. So we're just so excited and proud and privileged to be able to come into your listening space. And for those of you that are live listening to it, it's wonderful as well. So that leaves me with thank yous. I want to thank Paula and Bridget and all of our guest speakers actually who have joined us throughout the year. We always get a bit sad if we have to do it alone because we want to leverage each other's knowledge and experience. But the experience that Paula has brought, Bridget's brought now as a new, some of you might remember we celebrated that Bridget achieved her MCC this year and brought all of those amazing insights to our coaching. So I really want to thank Paula, Bridget and all our guest speakers, particularly the people who joined us for International Coach Week. Behind the scenes, Sonia, wow, she puts all of this together for us in terms of the images, making sure that you have access to them on our blogs, sending out the invitations and the emails so you can get access, all the imagery, everything you see that allows me to be able to present. Sonia works on that in the background and she's absolutely amazing. She also makes sure that we're doing it. So what's happening on the Coaching Cafe, and I want 2 or 3 weeks in advance. So she gets a bit bossy, to be honest, but that bossiness is very good because it means that, we've got 3 or 4 cafes in advance ready for you, ready to go, and we can just, turn up and deliver like we do and engage like we do as a community, which is wonderful. I want to do a shout out to Nathan, who works on all of our social media. So he edits all of the cafes after we've finished the cafe, puts it up on our podcast so you can get access to it. All of his ideas he's been bringing. For some of you who don't know, he's actually my son. And he says, Mom, I need you to do this and don't do that. And he gives us feedback directly and we love it. And it's made the podcast so much better and such a better experience for everyone who's listening. And so he's got a long list of things he wants to introduce for next year and tell us what to do because he's the expert. So it's wonderful to have, a young person being part of this community and helping us all as well. So thank you. I can see a lot of the thanks coming through the chat, which is really amazing. And some people are saying that this might even be your first time, and so what's been covered in 2025 makes you excited for our learning journey together in 2026. And I agree with you. And people are saying they're grateful for the coaching cafes throughout 2025. You found them enlightening, say thank you so much, everyone who's saying the thank yous. We have too. It stretches us. It stretches our ability to, as professional coaches. It keeps us sharp and alive with you as a community. So finally, I want to say thank you. It's an absolute pleasure to bring these coaching cafes to you every week. We don't get to see you all, but we get so many comments and we get to enjoy learning, our shared learning experience together and creating a wonderful community. So whether you've listened to one coaching cafe or all of the coaching cafes, whether you're listening to this in the morning, in the afternoon or in the evening, whether you're listening to this live or on your favorite streaming service, I want to thank you all for being involved in such a wonderful year of coaching cafes. We have lots planned for next year. We can't wait to bring you all of the new opportunities for learning. But first we need to rest. We need to recuperate. We need to go into our for some of you, summer period, and for some of you, the winter period. We need to rest and recuperate all together as a community, and then we'll all come back nice and strong. And yes, of course, Bronwyn, as you say, how lucky are we to be able to access this collective wealth of coaching expertise, not only here within Open Door and the team, but now in the broader teams that we're part of, and also the broader community. So thank you, everybody. I'm going to give you some homework. What is the coaching question that I am reflecting on over the break? Well, the one thing that really stood out for me in the 2025, the changes to the ICF Core Competencies 2025, was the introduction of the concept of coaching philosophy. It's always been there in coaching mindset, but it's specifically mentioned now and referenced. And so that is my homework for myself. And I offer you that as a really core question that we can ask ourselves throughout the break. What is our coaching philosophy? If someone was to say to you, hey, how would you describe your coaching philosophy? How would you answer that question? So that's your homework. That's what I'm going to be reflecting on. And I cannot wait to come back in 2026 and find out the answers to that question, what you actually think. Of course, we've got our certificate for in workplace and business coaching running next year. We've got our diplomas running. Open Door is now part of the broader IECL coaching group, so we'll have lots of absolutely wonderful things to bring you as we leverage the opportunities we have within our broader group and our broader companies. So there's lots of different opportunities that you can take advantage of as well. That just leaves me, everybody, to say thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. As I said, whether you're dialing in live or on your favorite streaming service, whether you're listening to this morning, noon or night, thank you so much for joining us. We wish you a very safe, happy holiday period, a wonderful Christmas if you celebrate it, and we cannot wait to have a good rest, but then to come back with you in 2026. Take care, everyone. We look forward to seeing you then. And as we always say, enjoy your coaching.